Well, the early signing period came and went, and the Big 12 is breaking itself up here a bit between the haves and the have-nots. Pete Mundo, Heartland College Sports Weekly, part of heartlandcollegesports.com, your independent Big 12 digital media outlet. We appreciate you joining us, whether it's on the radio, podcast, Facebook, YouTube, whatever it might be. So this is pretty interesting. For the first time in a while, OU and Texas are both recruiting top 10 classes. I know that might surprise you, but it hasn't been the case since earlier in the Mack Brown, Bob Stoops tenure and rivalry that these two programs were both recruiting at the same time this well. Even at the end of the Bob Stoops tenure, Lincoln Riley has recruited better than Bob Stoops did towards the end. And we know Charlie Strong was not great at recruiting. Or at Texas at least. I think he had one top tier 10 or 15 recruiting class, but that was it. He had a couple of bummers as well. And Tom Herman, after starting off slow in his first year when he just got the job, he has had back-to-back great recruiting classes. So after that, though, there's a big drop, especially this year for the conference, and I'll get into that here in a couple of minutes. But for OU to have two five-star guys coming in, Theo Weiss, a wide receiver out of Allen, Texas, and then a quarterback, Spencer Rattler, out of Phoenix, Arizona. If you're, first off, a wide receiver, OU's the place to go. But even more so at quarterback, right? OU's had 4 Heisman finalists, Baker Mayfield 3 times, and then Kyler Murray, and you've won the last 2 Heisman trophies. Does it get any better than that? It's amazing. And on top of that, you look at what Oklahoma has done. They've actually recruited pretty darn well, too, on the defensive side of the ball, considering they fired Mike Stoops. They've had issues on that side, but they have a lot of 4-star guys coming in, do the Sooners on the defensive side of the ball. So kudos to them. And as for Texas, just to touch on the early signing period, what they have coming in, who they have coming in. Top couple of guys, an offensive tackle and Tyler Johnson out of Conroe, Texas, and Jordan Whittington, a wide receiver out of Cuero, Texas. Those are 2 of the top guys that Texas has coming in. DeGabriel Floyd, an inside linebacker as well, has committed, the number 4 inside linebacker in the nation. So those 2 programs are in very good shape. You know that. But after OU and Texas, who are both in the top 9, you got to go down to 31 to find the next Big 12 team, and that's TCU with Gary Patterson's 23 commits. Now, last year and the last couple of years, Patterson's had top 25 classes. I'm not going to get on him. I mean, what Gary Patterson has done out recruiting, I know he's right there in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, but what Gary Patterson has done out recruiting basically everybody in the Big 12 outside of OU and Texas when he's, 6-7 seasons into the Big 12 has been very, very impressive. His top recruit, top guy coming in, a running back, DeMarqua Foster out of Wichita Falls. So that's always a position that's of need, especially there with the TCU offense. Good job by Patterson, but I'll be curious to see if he can get this thing into the top 25 come February, because TCU has been to the point where I think they can be and they should be a top 25 class year after year. And, with the talent, the amount of talent that is in their backyard, that's why a lot of teams in the Big 12 didn't want TCU in the conference, because they knew that they had the chance, especially with a head coach like Gary Patterson, to do some serious damage based on the amount of talent that was within like a 25-mile radius of the university. I know TCU doesn't have the best atmosphere maybe, when it comes to game day. The stadium's not the biggest or the grandest. But when you can drive 20 minutes to see your kid, get them a really good education, and play for, I would argue, one of the best, if not the best coach in the Big 12 and one of the best coaches in America, and you have a great chance of going to the NFL, you can give up the stadium size, So the fact that the Big 12 does have this drop-off is concerning because it's a bigger drop-off than normal, and it's going to continue to differentiate the Big 12, which is looking like it's going to be the next 5 years of OU and Texas going back and forth. As much as I like when OU and Texas are both really good because that's good for the conference, I also want to see the Baylors, Iowa States, Oklahoma States, TCUs of the world compete at the top. I think they can. I think they're worthy of it, and I want to see that happen. The 4th best recruiting class in the Big 12 is the Baylor Bears, and this cannot be understated. what Matt Rule has done on the recruiting trail with this team, with this program, less than 3 years removed from that disaster under Art Briles, is nothing short of a miracle. People are talking about the death penalty for Baylor. And Matt Rule has this program, and they've done it since he got there, recruiting top 35 to 40 classes. He's consistently out-recruited Mike Gundy at Oklahoma State, even though Mike Gundy is coming off of 3 straight 10-win seasons. Put that into perspective. Matt Rule coming off and taking over on a massive sexual assault scandal at Baylor for Art Briles. Not a Texas guy. For the most part, an East Coast guy, Temple, some time in the NFL. He has come to Waco, Texas, and he has out-recruited Mike Gundy. You can't say that enough times and give the guy enough credit. It's impressive what he has done there. Iowa State right now with the 5th best recruiting class in the conference. I mean, Matt Campbell just is doing it time and time again. He's got 1 4-star guy, a running back, Jarrell Brock out of Quincy, Illinois. So that's the number 14 running back in the country. Is going to Ames, and why not after what David Montgomery is doing there? And Matt Campbell continues to give he's going to continue to give the Big 12 fits. You know, he signed the extension. I'm glad he did it. I hope he's here for a long time. And by the way, I wrote about this on Christmas. Every Iowa State fan should be a fan of Ryan Day. Root for Ryan Day at Ohio State, because to me that's the only job that that at this point Matt Campbell would consider taking. Maybe Notre Dame, but I don't know. He's an Ohio kid. I got to imagine if Ohio State opened up, he would at least take the phone call. So root for Ryan Day to do well. That way the job never opens up. And then you have Oklahoma State with the 6th best recruiting class, 44th in the country. Grayson Boomer, a tight end out of Oklahoma, is their top recruit. Then it's Langston Anderson out of Texas, a wide receiver. So, I'm got on Mike Gundy earlier. I still think this team should be recruiting better, but he does have them in the top 50. They should be, to me, in the top 25, 30 at worst. And after that, there's also a drop-off as you keep on going down from there to the Texas Techs of the world. Who else are we missing? The Kansas schools as well. West Virginia just outside the top 50. I know there's not a lot of talent there in West Virginia, but Dana Holgorsen, got to pick it up before February. You only got 16 commits there, guy. Got to do it. Pete Mundo, Heartland College Sports Weekly, part of HeartlandCollegeSports.com. Thanks so much for joining us, guys. We'll talk to you soon, and we'll do it again right here on Heartland College Sports Weekly.